Pala, and you are watching the Preeti Experience. Welcome to another episode of Power Play with Preeti, and we have a very special guest with us this evening, and we're going to deliberate through some extremely crucial cricket tournaments that are happening globally. So let's bring on our fan favorite analyst, Crick Johns. Namaste, Johns. How are you? And I hope you're keeping warm in India.
First of all, thanks a lot for inviting me. It's a pleasure to come to the YouTube channel again. It has been very good, especially India to Sri Lanka in the last month. Then now India versus England Test series has started, and Olympics has been going on. Then there are other lots of cricket actions as well. So it has been very good.
Absolutely. We've had such a sport-filled, I think, month in July and sort of leading into August. So we'll talk about a few different things today. We'll cover cricket, and then we'll also touch on Olympic glory and I think Olympic history really for India, because it really I think is a landmark historic Olympics for Bharat, and we should all be very proud. But to kick things off, let's start with the India versus Sri Lanka series that just passed. Firstly, what were your thoughts about the ODI series? So we'll start with the ODI and then we'll move into the T20s. What were your views about the India B, I guess, or India A, if you want to call it, that went over there and very convincingly, I think, secured a victory against Sri Lanka. Your opinions on the ODI series?
Mostly, this tour was mainly looking towards the T20 World Cup, especially few sports was really open. The spin department was open. Then third fast bowler, or even they can try out the backup options and second wicket keeper option. So most of the players was looking towards the T20 World Cup rather than performing in that ODI series, and we have seen some glimpses as well. If you look at Rahul Chahar bowled really well. UC Chahal came into that rhythm. He had a disappointing England series. Then even in the IPL as well, wasn't looking that great. But in the ODI series, he came back strongly. Then Kuldeep Yadav got some confidence as a bowler, especially he was sitting in the bench for KKR. So it was very good to see him back. And in the batting unit, we have seen the glimpses of Prithvi Shaw, what he can do in the future once Dhawan or Rohit Sharma moves away, we have a guy like Prithvi Shaw waiting to open, and we might see the glimpses like if India can be 10 overs, 90 for 0 or 90 for 1. So Prithvi Shaw can make that impact in near future, maybe after 2023 World Cup or even in the World Cup itself if the one moves away or the one goes through some tough times, etc. So we have the backups, and India showed in that ODI series and Surya Kumar Yadav as a player, the involvement of Surya Kumar Yadav. He got the opportunity in the T20 series against England. He performed, and he got the opportunity in the ODI series against Sri Lanka, and he was the man of the series as well. So it showed that depth of Indian cricket once again, and some hit due to COVID, etc. It happened in the T20 series, which we will discuss later.
Wonderful. I think I agree with you. I think some of the standout performances from the ODI series would be Rahul Chahar, um, Surya Kumar Yadav, Prithvi Shaw, uh, and Yuzi Chahal as well. And of course, don't forget Deepak Chahar, who I think single-handedly won that second ODI game for us, clinching the series. That was really touch and go. Who impressed you the most out of these? I mean, it's a pretty formidable, I think, India A.
Most every whoever got the opportunity, everyone has impressed their own way. If you look at Kuldeep Yadav's performance, if Yuzvendra Chahal performance, as you mentioned, the way Deepak Chahar batted, he can be a handy or lower order option for Indian team in limited overs. Then Surya Kumar Yadav showed his ability in white ball format. Then Prithvi Shaw, as I said earlier, then Ishan Kishan got opportunity. Even Sanju Samson also did well in third T20, third ODI, even though he didn't perform well in the T20 series, but in the ODI series he scored around 46 something in the third ODI. So whoever got the opportunity in the ODI series, they have shown the glimpses and the depth of Indian cricket in ODI format.
Wonderful. I think, definitely the ODI series was very convincing. Now let's move on to the T20 series. The first one was an easy win. I think we did pretty well there. Now tell us all what happened in the second and the third T20 games for India.
I think it was mainly due to COVID. If you look at India played with five batters and Bhuvneshwar Kumar was coming at number six, so it was difficult for Indian team to pick a right combination, and that affected them badly. And if you look at India had debutants like Ruturaj was there, Padikkal was there, Nitish Rana was making debut. So for an international game, you need to have that mixture of experience and youth. In the top five, you can't have three debutants. And if you have a batsman like Bhuvneshwar Kumar coming at number six, it
Mm-hmm.
gives that lots of pressure to these debutants, and that affected India badly in the T20 series. Even though it's a big learning curve for Ruturaj or Padikkal to move forward, especially they are youngsters, they are just 23, 21, etc. So they have a big future, maybe 15 or 16 years left in their cricket career. So this is a big learning curve for them. And if you look at the bowling unit as well, Varun Chakravarti was a big factor. He bowled really well. Even Rahul Chahar as well. He bowled really well in the T20 series. So India has those positives to take into the T20 World Cup or moving forward to the IPL. And there might be 23 members squad for the T20 World Cup. So the guys who performed well in the Sri Lanka series can get into the side as well.
Yes, I think India should see, and I think it does. I think the selectors see this T20 series really as an audition for the Indian squad that's going to go to the World Cup rather than a a series against Sri Lanka. And I give Sri Lanka all credit, and they deserved the victory. They waited a long time to get a win against India, even in their own soil. So kudos to them. I'm sure they were thrilled. But beyond that, I think this whole T20 series actually, meant a lot for the Indian selectors and the captain, the coach. So now they know exactly who can perform in pressure conditions. And I think, again, uh, credit to the Indian team for not canceling the series. They could have easily said, most of our players and even the India A, I guess, that came, they were heavily infected or affected, I should say, with the pandemic, and they could have easily said there's no point in continuing. But I think they upheld the spirit of the game, and the series went on. And I think even the Sri Lankan uh, coach made that point to thank India for actually playing and keeping up the spirit. I think in the end, everybody enjoyed it. So now moving on to, I think, the Prestige series that is happening right now, India versus England. Now, firstly, do you agree that this particular opportunity is the best that India is going to have in a long time, and the best opportunity it has had in a long time to beat England in India? Would you agree? Sorry, beat England in England. Would you agree that this English batting lineup or this English squad is the weakest you've seen in a while?
Yes, if you look at England's batting in the last 2 3 years, it has been a bit under par. Even Joe Root scored his first 100 in home conditions after 3 long years on the fourth day. So it shows that they have fragile in the batting unit. Even they don't have the experience of Ben Stokes. Then Chris Woakes is not there. Even though Jofra Archer is not a big miss at England conditions, but Ben Stokes and Chris Woakes are major setback for them especially the performance of Chris Woakes in England conditions is very good. We have seen over the years how well he can bowl and he can contribute with the bat as well. So they are missing two big guns in England conditions. And if you look at their batting unit, most of them are coming from 100 league. They don't have the experience of first class cricket for the last 1 month. So they might be fragile to play test matches right now. If you compare with Indian team, India played WTC final, and before the WTC final, they played a warm-up match, and after the WTC final, they played a practice match against county selected one. So Indian team has been playing the red ball format for last 2 months. So they have more experience in first class matches than England, especially England was coming from Hunter League. So that might be a big factor moving forward into the Test series. Even though first test might be rain affected, we don't know what will be happening in last two sections. The rain has been heavier in Nottingham. So even moving forward into the Test series, this might be a big factor and one of the deciding factor as well. And their bowling unit is very good. James Anderson has been in good rhythm. Ollie Robinson has been really impressive from the New Zealand Test series. Then Stuart Broad is there, so they have options in the bowling unit. But the issue is batting. Since the retirement of Andrew Strauss or Alistair Cook, they haven't found a very good opener, and they have Hamid. I don't know why he hasn't been included in the first Test match. Especially he scored 100 against India in the wow match for county selection. So I hope he'll be getting an opportunity. And they need Oli Pop in the side as well. He might be returning to the second, third test or third test match. So somewhere around they can get that mix in the batting unit, but still there is fragile and there is lack of runs and lack of practice matches in first class cricket. So these things, if everything can come really good, India has a bigger opportunity to win the Test series after almost 14 years. They won the last Test series in 2007 under Rahul Dravid. Since then, India has lost 2011, 2014. In 2018, they fought really hard, even though scoreline was 4-1. But they showed lots of courage. They fight almost in two or three test matches, and they won one test match as well in Nottingham. So they have good memories. Just they need to perform as a group, and their mid order need to fire. Pujara, Kohli, Rahane need to come good. They have been short of runs since 2020, so they need to come good. If everything can come together, then India has a great chance to win the Test series.
I agree. What are your thoughts of the first test match so far? Are you impressed with the Indian openers, that they have been resilient and intentful and blocked pretty well, and they managed to bowl England out? And then I think they are really in a formidable position to win it. But what are your thoughts about this first test match?
I think Indian openers has been doing well, even though they hasn't scored a big 100 or big 200, but they have faced some tough conditions. If you look at Australia, Shubman Gill and Rohit Sharma played out almost 15 to 20 overs, and the WTC final as well. They opened really well and they scored around 50 runs in the opening partnership. And Shubman Gill got injured, and KL Rahul, who did so well in the first innings, so Indian openers has been doing so well. If you compare Indian openers from 2018 to 2019, Indian openers hasn't been that great, except Mayank Agarwal, who showed some glimpses in few series. And if you look at 2018 in India tour of South Africa or India tour of England or tour to Australia, openers hasn't been scoring runs apart from few innings from Agarwal. So if you compare with that and right now, India should be tanking these guys. But they need to come good. A big 100 from Rohit Sharma or KL Rahul or even Mayank Agarwal, if he gets a chance again, they need to score big hundreds, and that reduces the pressure. The main issue has been the middle order. If you look at the numbers since 2020, it hasn't been that great. Virat Kohli going through a rough time. Pujara hasn't been that great, even though he had a good outing in Australia. But if you look at his stats since 2018-19 Australia tour, it hasn't been that great. I think he hasn't scored 100 as well. So it is a big worry sign for India. And then Rahana as well. He was the highest run getter in WTC cycle one, but the issue for Rahana has been the consistency. He will be scoring 100 in one series, then he'll be going in single digits. So he need to reduce that. And if the top five can come good, India has a great chance.
Absolutely right. Which Indian bowler has impressed you the most so far?
Uh, Almost every bowler has been really impressive, but Bumrah's rise has been the best one. He had a poor outing in WTC final, but the way he came back in the first Test match, he picked 9 wickets. Even he improved his batting as well. He scored around 20 plus runs in the first innings, which is really crucial. So, Bumrah has been the most impressive, and he was looking to take wickets. He was bowling a lot more fuller length, which is a must in England conditions, and he realized the importance of that from the WTC final. So it's a good sign. And Shami Siraj went for few runs, but they will be coming good as the series progresses. Especially Siraj was the leading wicket taker in Australia for India, so he is in good form as well. The way he bowled in the IPL, so there are good signs for India moving forward. But the biggest factor was Bumrah's comeback, especially taking 9 wickets, which is a very good sign for India.
Wonderful. And uh, i- do you think that picking the one spinner Jadeja over Ashwin for this first test match was the right decision?
It was totally a shock. I never expected them to drop Ashwin, especially the way Ashwin has been bowling. He even played in the county match, but India has their own reasons, mainly because of this rain factor. That might be the reason they picked only one spinner. If you look at the conditions, they were saying that rain factor was there, so they need that extra cushion of batting, which Jadeja can provide, and Thakur as well. It gives lot of depth, so that might be the reason of not playing Ashwin in the first Test match. We might see Ashwin in the next Test match, especially playing in Lords. And if there is no rain, then I think Ashwin will be returning. So we can't. Even if you look at Indian bowling, they did so well. It's not that, and the rain factor was there. There was not much spin to offer if you look at the test match for the first 4 days. So we should say they were right with the selection. But I hope Ashwin should be coming back very soon, because the way he bowled in Australia, or the way he has been bowling in last 2 years, he was the leading wicket taker in WTC Cycle 1. So I hope Ashwin will be coming back very soon.
I think Ashwin will be coming back, and yes, I think I get a feeling that Shastri and Kohli were so spooked by the WTC final that they didn't want a repeat of that. So to be on the safe side, they went with what could have been the lineup, or what should have been the lineup for the WTC final, which is the one spinner, and having Shardul Thakur come in. Both Jadeja and Thakur have done incredibly well. And, I mean, hindsight is a beautiful thing, but in the moment, obviously, you have to make a decision and stick to it. I suspect Ashwin will be back for the next one, or wherever the forecast is completely sunny and dry. I think he will come, because then spin will be a big factor. Obviously, we're doing this episode today because of the rain situation. Um, Keeping everything in mind, do you think that the game will resume and we will get enough overs to get a result, or do you think it's just going to be a washed out game and it'll end in a draw?
If you look at the weather, we might get 20 to 30 overs, but if you look at India need 157 runs, so it will be difficult They need around 5 plus runs per over. So it won't be easy. Even England can go for the defensive field set, and it will be difficult. And Pujara is batting right now. It won't be easy for India to get that 157 runs. But if India can get 40 plus overs, then India has a chance. But even right now, it's rain is pouring down. It's getting heavier as well in Nottingham. So I think it will be difficult to find a result. But still, we are hopeful. We have seen the Gaba Test match, what Indian team has done. So anything can happen. Even if it is 20, 30 overs, India might go for that win as well. Especially Virat Kohli has been saying this. We have seen the fifth Test match in England in 2018. They went for that victory, even though they lost the Test match, but they went for that victory. So we are hopeful that India might win, but it will be really difficult under these circumstances if they are getting only 20 or 30 overs.
Very, very unfair because India is in such a good position. They outplayed, I think, outbowled England. They deserve to win. And it's just a shame that the rain had to come at this very crucial moment when we are ahead. And it's a bit like the last day of the WTC, just when things are looking really good for India. I almost wish it gets washed out rather than India gets only 30 overs and they don't cross the line. I don't think that's fair. I'd rather it ended in a draw than a loss for India, considering they were really ahead. So let's see what the weather gods will provide us. Um, so your prediction is, would you say is it a draw, or are you almost predicting an England win here?
I think in this test match, it likely to be a draw. I don't think any team winning. And in England has tougher. If you look at 30 overs and getting 9 wickets, it won't be easier.
True.
So either two results, either India win or draw. And right now it should be a draw. I don't think India can manage to score 5 runs per over. And there will be a factor of light as well. Even though they can take extend the section till 12 a.m. IST, but still it will be difficult for India to get a result from here.
Fair enough. So we'll hope for the best. Now, regarding the series itself, what are your predictions? What do you think will be the final prediction of this, or the final result of this great series?
I think India has a better chance to win the series if we look at England. As I said earlier, the batting is slightly fragile and they don't have Ben Stokes. And we don't know whether Chris Woakes will be available as well for this series. He has been ruled out for the first two test matches. If he can come back, then England has a slight advantage as well. The lower order will be getting better, and the way Chris Woakes is bowling in England conditions. So it will be slightly in the favor of India, but I assume series can be either 3-1 to India or a 2-2 draw. This is my scoreline.
Sorry, what's the final score again?
Either 3-1 to India or a draw, 2-2 draw.
Okay, 3-1 India or 2-2 draw. All right, let's see. And a prediction for the bowler that is going to take the most wickets at the end of the series, and who do you think will make the most runs from either team?
It will be difficult to say who will be taking more wickets because there will be rotation. If you look at India has
Yeah.
IPL, then T20 World Cup is there. So India might be resting Bumrah for 1 or 2 test matches, even Siraj as well, maybe Shami as well because Umesh Yadav is waiting. Then Ishan Sharma is waiting. There is Ishan Ashwin as well in the bench. So there will be rotation. So it will be difficult to say who will be getting most number of wickets. But most number of runs, I still think Virat Kohli will be coming back. It's just a matter of one innings. If he can score around 80 to 90 in one innings and get into that groove, Virat Kohli can come back and score a lot of runs in the series.
I'm going for Root or I want to say KL Rahul maybe. We'll see, because I think he's in a good nick. Possibly Rohit Sharma too if he gets his groove going. Um, so that's the cricket analysis. Now we cannot talk about Indian sport and not talk about the Olympics. I think this is our most successful campaign. We've done phenomenally well across many different sports. I think we've competed at a very elite level. We've gotten the most number of medals. I think in maybe this is our best performance, and we missed out a medal by by a whisker. I think in so many sports. I think the as a country we can take away a lot. What was your impression of India's performance during this Olympics?
If you look at the medal wise, it has been the highest.
Yes.
Earlier, it was London Olympics in 2012. This time they got 7 medals. So
Hmm.
there is a rise in Indian sport as well. Especially most of them are youngsters. If you look at their age, whoever missed out for a medal, they can come back really well after 3 years. They have another Olympics in Paris. So
True.
Indian sport has been going through a very good time, and the rise of hockey, it should be encouraged more, especially the women's hockey. They did so well. They finished fourth. Even men's hockey as well, they finished third and they won the medal. So
Yes.
hockey has been a huge impact, and India will be hosting the World Cup as well in the hockey. So
Yes.
if they can continue this form, and the affection for the of the sports lovers towards hockey, if they can remain what we have seen during the Olympics, it can give an extra boost, and we might see what hockey was during 70s or 60s or 50s. If they can come back, or maybe not like winning lots of medals or gold medals, but hockey can remain and make a huge impact in Indian sports very soon.
Absolutely. I mean, it's the unofficial national sport of India. And for those who don't know, India had won 8 consecutive Olympic gold medals, and it's won more medals in this sport than any other nation. It is, you know, by all intents and purposes, the world champions in hockey over the last, uh, I don't know, you want to say 70 years or something like that. We have been phenomenal, and I think the love for hockey still remains. Before cricket was a thing, I think the whole country was in love with hockey, and there's no reason why we can't be world champions again. I think getting a bronze for the men's and coming fourth for the women's is a fantastic effort. Hosting the World Cup will be a big boost. We have some of the best infrastructure and facilities in the world now, and there's no reason why India, with that stadium in Odisha, can't be, start being like how India dominates cricket. Because I think what we have is the numbers, and if we somehow get, if India becomes the hockey viewing nation in the world, then suddenly all eyes are going to be towards India. And of course, the talent and the passion is there. It's just a matter of time before we dominate, I think. So hockey is in good shape. And I just think that, and I have to talk about Neeraj Chopra. I think a phenomenal performance. I think when he threw that javelin and he turned and he put his hands up, even before he knew how far it had gone, he knew he won in that second shot, I think. Uh, what was going through your mind when you watched him, especially that particular throw where he knew, I think.
Yeah, especially he is just 23 years of old, and the confidence he was having. If you look at other participants, they were slightly worried, etc. But the face was showing Neeraj Chopra was here to win a medal, and everyone was expecting from him as well. If you look at all the sports pages or Twitter handles who followed the game closely, Everyone was expecting a medal from Neeraj Chopra, and he had a tough competitor, but he was after the first round he was in there. There was few fouls etc. was there, but Neeraj Chopra proved why he is rated as one of the best, and he proved that he is the best as well in the world by winning the gold, and he has lots of years left. If you look at, he's just 23. He has almost at least two Olympics more. So India will be expecting more medals, and I hope he can continue this fitness as well, because these injuries, he had a elbow injury in 2019, but he came that and won the medal in 2021. So there are we might hear lots of stories from Neeraj
Yes.
Chopra, and this will be a big inspiration for many future guys. One gold medal can impact a lot. We have seen in cricket in 1983.
Yes.
Once India won that World Cup, then Sachin came, then Lakshman, then Ganguly came, Dravid came. So India can have a similar impact even in hockey as well. India won the medal in men's hockey, and this will be a big boost and inspiration for many youngsters. And these state or Indian Olympics Committee will be giving more importance right now after winning the medal. So we might see a very good Olympics in 2024 by winning. Hopefully, double-digit medals will be coming into our country very soon.
I agree. I think in Paris, all the medal winners during this Olympics will have a shot again. And then all those who missed out by a whisker, I actually see them uh, crossing the line this time. I absolutely agree with you. I think it'll definitely be, I think we could double it or more, to be honest. We have it in our capacity. It'll be the best ever Olympics. And I think this gold medal is going to I think inspire a billion, which is incredible. Now, a lot of people talk about huge country, incredible country, a billion people. Why have we not done that well in the previous Olympic Games? There could be there are many different reasons. One is if we love cricket so much, we don't care about other sports so much, or is the infrastructure resources not there? Is it no state support? Or is it a mindset of Indian families where, because we excel in business, education, academia, technology, all these other areas of life where sports as a career profession is just not the most important thing for Indian families, and it's a mindset thing. And because I think or is it, are we not physically capable of being champions? So these are many reasons. What's your personal opinion?
Uh, I think we need to construct a system. If we need to globalize, we have a huge population, and there will be people or children who love to take sport, and they need to encourage as well. We can't blame anyone, but we need to develop that system in schools. We have seen 13 or 14-year-old kids winning Olympics gold from different parts of the country.
Yes.
So, if we have a system in school level or college level or from young age, then India can grow. So, even if you look at cricket, earlier it was from Mumbai, Chennai, Bangalore, etc. But right now, cricket has been coming from a smaller state as well. Even from Assam, we have seen the
Yes.
growth of Riyan Parag. So we need to have that system. If we have system, then we will be getting more Olympics medals, or we will be getting more participants. Even if you look at more than winning medal, even if we can participate in the Olympics, it's a huge achievement. So we need to have more participants, and winning medal. We need to have mission like 2040 or 2050, winning 50 medals. Something
Yes.
that mission will be should be there. Then that system, if everything can come together, then we will be seeing, because we have good encouragements. Hockey won the medal, javelin, Neeraj Chopra, then wrestling we have seen few guys, then boxing is there, shooting is there. So there are lots of areas which India excel. So if we have a very good system as well, then we can see more medals in the future.
Absolutely. In America here, they start at the age of 3 and 4, competing professionally, and they study in parallel with their training, and that's why you have these preteen, kids really competing and even winning sometimes, gymnastics, swimming, and uh, diving, so on. And I think that's the difference. They start very early here in especially in America. And if in India we did that, and educate and parents need to realize that your education will not be compromised. You can absolutely you can manage both. And those gifted players should be given an opportunity. And I just think that sport is should be more attractive and appealing and enticing uh, for society, for the public. That's when the parents will say, "Wow, it's so cool if my kid is a professional athlete or training to go to the Olympics." As proud as they would if their child is going to study to be a doctor. I think we need to come to that level. Maybe that's the difference as well. And finally, we have some good news that the various boards are releasing their players to play in the IPL. Are you happy with this news? And uh, who do you think is going to benefit the most now that all the international players will be joining the franchises?
We need to get confirmation from Cricket Australia, but New Zealand players will be coming. England players will be available, but we don't know who are coming because we don't know the news of Ben Stokes whether he'll be coming. Then Josh Butler has hinted that he might not come. Then Pat Cummins also he might not be coming. Then only Morgan has confirmed that he'll be coming for the IPL. So we need to get at least 2 more weeks whether who will be coming into the IPL. But as if now, New Zealand players has already confirmed everyone will be coming. They won't be playing the Pakistan tour. So that's a very good news for few sides,
Yeah.
especially Kane Williamson will be leading Sunrisers. So we need to wait for at least 1 or 2 weeks to get that official confirmation about all the players.
Absolutely, and we hope that the two CSK players from England will be joining the team. It will just make that team all the more stronger, especially in those conditions, right? Because I think those UAE pitches can be very attractive for CSK if you have the right attack. So uh, thank you so much for your time and your insights. It's been wonderful. I am so excited about the series. Very proud of India. They've done phenomenally well. And thank you again, Johns. And guys, we'll come back to you again with another fan special expert analysis as the series continues. And please like, share, subscribe. Let people know, give us your feedbacks, your comments. Please consider joining as a member. And please share the video, make it go viral. We are honored with the traction and the popularity and the subscribers that we're getting and all the love and support. It's very important. Keep sports alive in India. Jai Bharat, Jai Hind. Dhanyawad. Thank you so much.